The Cloner Who Outperformed, the Life, Philosophy, and Frugal Genius of Mohnish Pabrai. Good morning and welcome. In our ongoing exploration of the world's most insightful investors, we have encountered original thinkers, system builders, and ethical pioneers. Today, we turn our attention to a figure who presents a fascinating and powerful paradox. He is a man who openly and unashamedly declares that he has no original investment ideas. He is a self-proclaimed cloner. Yet, through the disciplined act of cloning, he has achieved one of the most spectacular investment track records of the modern era, outperforming the S&P 500 by a wide margin, and even, by some measures, outperforming his own heroes over a substantial period. His story is a masterclass in intellectual humility, the power of model-based thinking, and the profound insight that in a world desperate for novelty and complexity, the greatest edge may simply be the discipline to faithfully and intelligently emulate those who are already proven to be the very best. He is a living argument against the cult of originality in investing. His name is Mohnish Pabrai. He is the managing partner of Pabrai Investment Funds and the author of the highly influential books The Dandho Investor and Mosaic, Perspectives on Investing. His journey is a unique alchemy of East and West, of immigrant hustle and value investing patience. An engineer from India who built and sold a successful IT consulting business in the United States, he then turned his formidable systematic intellect and relentless work ethic to the stock market, not to invent a new strategy, but to perfect the art of applying an old one with unwavering consistency. His career offers a masterclass in the practical, real-world application of Buffett-style investing, the economics of extreme concentration, and the life-changing power of a few big asymmetric bets made with extreme conviction and patience. Part 1. The Dandho Foundation. From Gujarat to Nebraska. To understand Mohnish Pabrai's investment framework, one must first understand the cultural and entrepreneurial DNA that shapes it. A worldview formed long before he encountered a balance sheet. He was born in India and grew up immersed in a pragmatic business culture known as Dandho. The word, derived from the Gujarati language, translates roughly to endeavors that create wealth. But it is far more than a word. It is a deeply ingrained philosophy, a way of life most famously practiced by the Patels, a community that achieved remarkable, disproportionate success in dominating the motel industry in the United States with very little starting capital. Pabrai observed the Patel model not as a sociologist, but with an investor's analytical eye. He codified its core universal principles in his first book, The Dandho Investor. The Dandho framework is stunningly simple, elegant, and powerful in its focus on asymmetric outcomes. Focus on buying existing businesses with an ultra-simple, low-risk, predictable model. The Patels didn't gamble on building new motels from scratch. They bought existing, often distressed roadside motels with a known operating history. They bought known quantities. Look for businesses with a durable competitive advantage, a moat. A motel on a major highway exit has a natural, location-based monopoly for tired travelers. It's a toll bridge of sorts. Find situations with a massive margin of safety. The Patels would buy these motels at deeply discounted prices from owners who were desperate to sell, often due to retirement, divorce, or exhaustion. They were buying $1 of asset for 50 cents. Bet heavily when the odds are overwhelmingly in your favor. They would invest their entire life savings, their family's collective capital, into a single motel. When the proposition was near riskless with huge upside, they saw no logic in diversification. Focus on arbitrage. They exploited a double arbitrage. First, the price arbitrage between the distressed sale price and the intrinsic value of the cash-flowing asset. And second, the operational arbitrage of their own incredibly low-cost, family-run model, which dramatically improved profitability. Buy businesses that are simple and easy to run. The motel business is not conceptually complex. It's about cleanliness, customer service, and cost control. There are no technological disruptions to the fundamental need for a place to sleep. This heads, I win big, tails, I don't lose much. Framework was burned into Pabrai's psyche. It is a worldview rooted in the relentless pursuit of asymmetric risk-reward, extreme frugality, and a focus on the concrete over the conceptual. When he later discovered the works of Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham, and Charlie Munger, it was not a revelation of something entirely new, but a thrilling recognition of a kindred spirit expressed through financial statements. He saw that the principles of classic value investing, margin of safety, circle of competence, moats, were simply a formalized institutional version of the Danto his community had practiced for generations. The motel was his first case study in intrinsic value. Before he was a full-time investor, Pabrai was a successful entrepreneur in the classic American sense. With an engineering background, he founded an IT consulting and systems integration firm called Transtech in 1990 in the United States. He built it steadily through client service and execution and profitably sold it in 2000. This entrepreneurial experience was critically formative. It gave him firsthand, visceral knowledge of what makes a business tick: the primacy of cash flow, the importance of capable and honest management, the reality of competitive dynamics, and the immense value of a simple, scalable model. It also provided him with the foundational capital to launch his investment fund free from external pressures. In 1999, with a few $1 million of his own money, embodying the Patel ethos of betting on himself, he started Pabrai Investment Funds. Part 2. The Art of Cloning. Standing on the shoulders of giants. Mohnish Pabrai's most famous and intellectually honest stance is his unabashed advocacy for cloning. He makes no pretensions of being an original thinker when it comes to generating investment ideas. Instead, he has developed a highly refined, ethical, and systematic process for identifying and piggybacking on the best ideas of the world's greatest investors. He calls himself an idea archaeologist. His philosophy is rooted in a simple, undeniable, and probabilistic argument. He states that there are tens of thousands of intelligent, hard-working, well-funded investors and analysts constantly scouring the globe for opportunities. The probability that he, working alone or with a small team, will consistently stumble upon a unique, brilliant idea that all these other brilliant minds have completely missed is incredibly low, a triumph of hope over statistical reality. Therefore, a more efficient, higher probability path to success is to study the public disclosures of a carefully curated list of super investors, a small group of investors with multi-decade track records of excellence whose philosophy is deeply aligned with his own, value-oriented, long-term, moat-focused, such as Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Li Lu, Guy Spier, and a handful of others. However, Pabrai's cloning process is not a passive, mechanical copy-pasting of 13F filings, the quarterly reports of institutional holdings. That is a sure path to mediocrity or disaster, as you are always late and lack understanding. His process is an active, deep, and rigorous investigative funnel. First, he identifies a super investor signal. He monitors the portfolios of his trusted list. When he sees that one of these investors has taken a new significant position, it acts as a powerful initial filter. It tells him that someone whose judgment, temperament, and due diligence process he respects has already done a mountain of work and has concluded, with their own capital at risk, that the business is a compelling bargain. This filters out 99.9% of the stock universe instantly. Second, and most critically, he does his own exhaustive work. The clone is only the starting point, the thesis suggestion. Pabrai then embarks on his own intensive research to make the idea his own. He reads every annual report for the past decade, every quarterly report, every transcript of earnings calls. He reads the annual reports of competitors. He devours every book, article, and industry analysis he can find. He seeks to understand the business model in depth, its sources of durable competitive advantage, its moat, the quality and capital allocation skill of its management, and most importantly, its intrinsic value. He is not looking to rubber stamp the super investor's decision. He is using their idea as a high-quality, pre-vetted lead to then conduct his own independent, deep analysis. The goal is to arrive at the same conclusion through his own process of reasoning. If he cannot understand the business, if the moat seems shaky, or if he cannot agree with the valuation thesis, he will not invest, no matter how prestigious the source. The clone must survive his own strict Don-Ho checklist. This approach provides him with a tremendous structural advantage. It massively increases his qualified idea flow with a world-class filter, solving the needle in a haystack problem every investor faces. It allows him to leverage the collective intelligence, experience, and work ethic of the best in the world, freeing up his own finite time and mental energy to focus on deep analysis and understanding rather than on shallow initial screening. It is fundamentally a humble acknowledgement of his own cognitive limitations and a brilliantly pragmatic exploitation of the information that is already freely available in the market. Part 3, the Pabrai Playbook: Concentration, Conviction, and Patience. Once Pabrai has identified an investment idea, whether through cloning or, less frequently, his own original research, and has done the work to make it his own, his approach to portfolio management is a direct, undiluted reflection of the Don-Ho principles and the concentrated teachings of Buffett and Munger. Extreme concentration. Pabrai is a fervent believer in the mathematical and philosophical power of concentration. His typical portfolio holds between 8 and 12 stocks. It is not uncommon for his top 3 holdings to constitute 50% or more of the entire fund's assets. This flies in the face of conventional Wall Street wisdom on diversification, which he views as a tool for institutions to avoid career risk, not a tool for maximizing returns. For Pabrai, over-diversification is diversification. It simply ensures you get average returns while owning companies you don't understand well. He believes that exceptional wealth is built by making a very small number of high-conviction bets, where the odds are dramatically asymmetric in your favor. His reasoning is compelling. If you have, through immense work, found a near-riskless bet with a 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 payoff, a fat pitch, why in the world would you only put 1 or 2% of your capital into it? You must bet big. This philosophy, of course, requires immense psychological fortitude, as a concentrated portfolio will be far more volatile than the broader market in the short term. He has to endure periods of significant underperformance, holding steady on the belief that intrinsic value will ultimately win. The 10-10-80 rule, or the Lollapalooza portfolio, Pabrai employs a simple, probabilistic mental model for his portfolio construction and expectations. He posits that out of every 10 investments he makes, one will be a total disaster, losing most or all of its value. This is accepted as the cost of doing business in the search for huge wins. One will be a 10-bagger or more, returning 10 times his initial investment or better, a true Lollapalooza outcome. The remaining 8 will perform roughly in line with the market or provide modest, acceptable returns. The key mathematical insight is that the gargantuan gains from the single 10-bagger will be so massive that they will more than cover the losses from the disaster and the mediocre performance of the others, leading to outstanding overall returns. This mindset is liberating. It allows him to be psychologically prepared for inevitable losses, viewing them not as personal failures, but as an expected statistical cost of doing business in the pursuit of life-changing home runs. It prevents panic selling and encourages holding the winners with patience. A relentless focus on moats and margin of safety. Pabrai's investment checklist is a direct descendant of his Don-Ho upbringing and his study of Buffett. He is only interested in businesses with wide, durable moats, businesses that are protected from competition by brands, low-cost structures, network effects, or regulatory advantages, allowing them to earn high returns on capital for decades. He is obsessed with the margin of safety. He will only buy when he can, with high confidence, purchase $1's worth of conservative intrinsic value for 50 cents or less. This strict discipline forces him to be radically patient and to wait, sometimes for years, for the perfect pitch. For extended periods, he may find very few ideas that meet his stringent criteria, and his fund will hold a significant amount of cash, sometimes over 30%. He is completely unbothered by this inactivity, quoting Buffett, "The stock market is a no-called strike game. You can stand there at the plate and watch 1,000 pitches go by and it doesn't count against you." Part 4, the Buffett Lunch, a lesson in authenticity and alignment. In 2007, Pabrai, together with his friend and fellow investor Guy Spear, made global headlines by winning the annual charity auction to have a private lunch with Warren Buffett. The winning bid was $60,100. While the financial media focused on the staggering price tag for Pabrai and Spear, it was framed not as an expense, but as the single most valuable investment in their education and development. It was a Danto bet on wisdom. The lunch, held at Smith & Wollensky Steakhouse in New York, was decidedly not about getting stock tips or secret picks. It was about gaining wisdom, observing temperament, and reinforcing the soundness of their chosen path. Pabrai has shared several profound takeaways from that meeting. He saw firsthand Buffett's incredible focus and clarity, his ability to ignore an immense universe of possibilities to concentrate on a few simple, powerful truths. He observed the seamless authenticity and the complete alignment between Buffett's personal life, his values, and his investment philosophy. There was no dissonance. One illuminating story stands out. During the lunch, Pabrai asked Buffett for his advice on how to be a better investor. Buffett's reply was deceptively simple. He told Pabrai to read a specific 700-page biography of the brilliant but flawed scientist William Shockley. The lesson was not about the book's content per se, but about the process of learning. Buffett was demonstrating that true investment wisdom comes not from memorizing finance formulas, but from building a broad, multidisciplinary base of knowledge: history, psychology, technology, human nature, and making connections across different fields. This was a live demonstration of Charlie Munger's core concept of a latticework of mental models. For Pabrai, this was a revelation that deepened his own reading habits. The lunch was, above all, a powerful validation. It confirmed that the principles he had deduced from reading integrity, rationality, long-term thinking, patience, frugality, were not just theoretical ideals discussed in annual letters, but were the very tangible engines of monumental success. He was seeing the operating system in person. Part 5, The Enduring Legacy. The frugal, focused model, Mohnish Pabrai's legacy, offers a set of powerful, counterintuitive, and deeply practical lessons for any investor, whether managing billions or a personal IRA. 1. Embrace cloning, but do your own work. Intellectual honesty is a force multiplier. There is no shame, but rather great wisdom in learning from the best. Use the publicly disclosed ideas of super investors as a high-quality starting point, a source of incredibly vetted leads. Then, you must do the exhaustive work to make the idea your own. This leverages the collective intelligence of the smartest market participants while ensuring you never outsource your final judgment. 2. Concentration builds exceptional wealth. Diversification preserves mediocrity. Have the courage, born of deep research, to make significant bets on your very best ideas. If you have truly done the work and the odds are profoundly asymmetric in your favor, bet big. Accept that this will mean higher volatility in periods of doubt. Understand that long-term, life-altering wealth is created by a handful of outstanding investments, not by 100 average ones spread thin. 3. Invert. Always invert. Focus on the downside. Pabrai, like his hero Charlie Munger, is a master of inversion. Instead of obsessively asking, how can I make money? He constantly asks, how can I avoid losing money? What are the ways this investment could go to zero? This focus on avoiding permanent loss of capital, on sidestepping stupidity and risk, naturally leads to more conservative valuations, better business selection, and the preservation of capital, which is the foundation upon which compounding builds. 4. Patience is not passivity. It is an active, disciplined strategy. The ability to do nothing, to hold large amounts of cash for extended periods while waiting for a genuine fat pitch, is a rare and powerful competitive advantage. The market is a perpetual motion machine of activity and temptation, constantly offering you mediocre opportunities. The disciplined Dondo investor, like a hunter, waits with immense patience for the rare, clear, no-brainer bet where the margin of safety is enormous. 5. Live your philosophy. Frugality is rationality. Pabrai's legendary personal frugality, from his modest Honda Accord to his unassuming lifestyle, is not a performance or an affectation. It is a direct, logical reflection of his investment philosophy. He seeks value and avoids overpaying in all things. This alignment of personal and professional life reduces cognitive dissonance, minimizes lifestyle-driven financial pressure, and reinforces the rational, patient behavior required for successful long-term investing. The man who won't overpay for a car is unlikely to overpay for a stock. In conclusion, Mohnish Pabrai is the ultimate pragmatist and synthesizer. He is a living testament to the powerful idea that you do not need a revolutionary new theory or complex algorithm to achieve extraordinary results. You simply need the humility to acknowledge the wisdom of the masters, the systematic discipline to apply their timeless lessons with intense focus and concentration, and the profound patience to wait for the few precious moments when the market, in its manic moods, offers you a king's ransom for a common coin. He is the Dandho investor who built a bridge from the motels of Route 66 to the annual meetings in Omaha without ever formally enrolling in business school. His success proves, irrefutably, that one of the most valuable investments any of us can make is in understanding, internalizing, and diligently emulating the fundamental principles of those who have already and consistently walked the proven path to greatness. Thank you.